Hello everybody, welcome back. When you do something long enough, you can't help but become some kind of a mentor to some people despite your own many shortcomings. And this has happened to me with guitar playing and being a professional musician, where people seek advice sometimes, and even the business of music, but also here on YouTube. I've been on this platform for a long time, and I've made hundreds and hundreds of videos, and often followers and viewers and friends who maybe are thinking of starting a channel, or they already have a channel that's not going as they hoped it would, they ask me for some kind of advice. And by far the most common one is not what camera to use and how to set up the lights, but it actually has to do with the core experience of the community. And that is, how do you keep coming up with interesting content? How do you keep coming up with ideas for the channel? And so today I will try to answer this, and I have three little pieces of advice for you. Two that are very practical and one that's a bit more mental, and we'll save that for last. And also I will talk a little bit, very briefly, about how I like to develop the idea of the video and take it from an abstract thing into a concrete one very quickly. And it's a very simple process for me. So here we go. My first piece of advice is so simple and yet so often overlooked. And that is that you have to know what you're talking about. You have to know your I see so many people go like, oh, I'll just put something out and people will watch it. Well, that's kind of like saying that your audience is stupid, right? But in fact, your viewers are extremely smart. From experience, I know that you guys know a lot about the things you're passionate about. And you don't want somebody who doesn't know their stuff blabber on about things they don't understand. It will very soon burn out your audience, and it will also make it impossible for you to come up with interesting topics. So the first thing that I would say, if you want to keep coming up with great topics, start from a point of authority. Start from a point where you are actually an expert at what it is you're doing. And then it will be easy because you'll understand what your audiences need. Sometimes I make a beginner video. I know not my whole audience will be interested in it because they're more advanced. But even then, if we have a rapport, they will probably watch that video, because who knows if something happens or something comes up that they hadn't thought of. But that only comes from when they trust you. And to trust you, you have to demonstrate. You have to show, and you have to earn that trust. And don't cheat. We've talked about it not too long ago. There's people cheating all the time, and they get caught, right? And besides, there's no way to live your life. Just, find out what you're good at. We're all good at something. Find out what it is and share that, and we'll love it. All right, so that's number one. For number two, I would say actually forget number one. Don't think of yourself as an expert. Don't think of yourself as an authority or anything. Stay in tune with what your audience is. Your audience is curious. Your audience is motivated to learn. And as long as you keep that, you will keep learning. For myself, there is not one day that goes by that I'm not learning something new, using something new that I learned, and teaching. When you get these three things, then you're always constantly reminded of things that would benefit other people. You learn something interesting, you're like, oh, I should really look into this. I have a student who has trouble with something with their fingers. That's an idea, right? Because if he's struggling with it, and she's struggling with it, and these other guys are struggling with it, I bet a lot more people are going to be, and it will benefit them. Never think you know everything. Besides, it's demonstrated. We don't know anything, no matter how good you think you are. And so keep that youthful mind, keep that curious mind, and it will generate endless opportunities for content. I hate the word content, but you know what I mean. So number one, be good at what you do. Number two, don't think you're that good at what you do. And these two things are very practical, they're very pragmatic, and I would certainly suggest that you try to incorporate them. Now, for the third advice I give, that's a bit more on the moral side. And that is to never think of your channel or your videos as something that is for you. Now, that's probably controversial, but don't think about what you can get out of it. If you start thinking that way, then everything becomes centered on you. How many views can I get? Oh, I should have way more subs. What's my CTR? Maybe I can sell a couple of things here, and that's just insufferable for your audience. Maybe you're a genius and you can think that way and act all natural and magnanimously. I still think your life will be hell. I think you'll get caught. And I certainly think you'll have a hard time coming up with things that really are worth it for your audience. And you'll never establish a community of respect, of support, of kindness, such as the one we have here. It will make you feel better, and you'll have a better life instead of trying to scam people out of things. And if you are lucky and you hit it big, you'll have something you love that you have to do every day and not something you hate. And when you love something and you love sharing what you know with people and you love to address their concerns, then the inspiration for material and new content becomes endless. People will always need your help if you are indeed a person who's equipped to provide it. One more thing I want to talk about very quickly and that I'm often asked about is, okay, now I have my idea. How do I take it from the idea, the abstract, into an actual concrete piece of information, an actual video I can then share? And here's how I do it. It's very simple, and if you want to give it a try, then let me know below if it works for you. All I do is come up with any idea, usually when I'm not playing the guitar. I'm sometimes out on walks. I love taking long walks, and when I'm doing that, usually an idea comes. As soon as I can, I grab my phone, turn it on, the voice memo app, and I start talking about whatever has to do with that idea. All the tangents are explored. I have no censorship at that point. And in the back of my mind, as I keep talking, because exteriorizing it helps a lot, you know, you're putting it out there because I'm dictating it. And I'm listening to myself and go, you know, this is actually very interesting. I should explore that a bit more. Or this is actually really boring. Nobody will want to listen to this. But usually it's interesting enough, at least the initial seed, that I pursue it. And then I finish it and I go, okay, this is a long voice memo. There's pauses, there's cars coming by, there's people watching. So I go like that. At that point, right away, I turn another voice memo on and I do another take, but much more focused. Also, I know what I'm going to be talking about, so I try to organize it. Some videos don't even need that, like if it's technical or musical theory thing, I don't really have to think too much about that. But for example, something like the ear training video, it needs a structure. So I'm thinking about the structure as I talk about the intro and about providing all the information that's needed. As soon as I have that, I like to come down to the studio, hit record, and do the video. I don't use scripts, I don't use teleprompters, I just turn it on and talk to you. I find this process helps me keep the immediacy with you and the intimacy of basically me and you being in the same room talking about music, but at the same time it gives me some option to arrange my thoughts so you don't have to listen to my scatterbrain approach to things. And then it's out of your hands, because I've had videos that I think were great and extremely useful flop after about an hour. They just went down like this. I've had others which I think were good, you know, and no better than others though, have great success. And I've seen others starting like this for weeks or months and then suddenly jump up and find their audience. It's out of your hands at that point, and so just make the best you can, share it, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you are trying to start a YouTube channel or just wanting to know how these things work, at least for this channel, well, now you know. Thank you so much as always for being there, and I'll see you on the next one.